Who doesn't love Beelzebub?
Not me.
Mike was rooting for him the whole time. Is his favorite character.
Yeah. Numsy.
Oh, brother Numsy. Well, I think talking in code like that is talking in code that leads you to Rabbit Troop Sucks. Welcome back. Hi, we're Rabbit Troop Sucks, and we're a podcast about obscure, forgotten about, and often overlooked films. And you know what? Our friend Rami wanted a little shout out. Should you watch this movie in groups or not? Yeah, watch it in a group, because today we're doing The Golden Child from 1986. As always, I am Paul. Next to me is Mike.
Numsy.
we got Jeremy.
Hello.
And Lamar.
Hey.
I mean, we are going to reference that guy's brother Numsy for the rest of the movie.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank God for that. Well, yeah, as noted, we're looking at The Golden Child, and we got Michael Ritchie as the director. This guy unfortunately passed away. He did some fun movies. I got The Scout from 1994. I got Fletch from 1985. A Simple Wish from 97. A movie called The Island from 1980.
Haven't we done one of his movies before?
Maybe. He did the story for Cool Runnings. 93.
Wow.
And then we have the writer, Dennis Feldman. And if you guys didn't look this up, he has done everything with the Species franchise. Everything.
Wow. Okay.
Species 1, Species 9. I don't know how many Species movies there are. There's like video games. That guy cashed in on that. Also wrote Just One of the Guys, 1995. But beyond that, Species every which way.
Wildcats.
Oh, Wildcats. Hey.
All right.
I don't know why that didn't pop up as one of his top. That's super unfortunate. I loved Wildcats. Great recommendation from our friend Hillary.
Was he a writer or director? Or
directed
what was
it.
his? Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. Michael Ritchie. This guy's fun. I'm glad we're doing this movie. We are a podcast about obscure, forgotten about, and often overlooked films. And let me give you a little summary here on a second. But one of the reasons I really wanted to do this film is I don't think this is anyone's go-to Eddie Murphy film. I mean, when you think of him, it's going to be...
It's not Eddie Murphy's.
Yeah.
This is his first PG-13 movie, I believe.
Yeah, no F-bombs.
Wow, that's interesting. I did not know that. Yeah, I mean, I think everyone's going to be like Beverly Hills Cop, Coming to America. Last time we saw him, Rabbit Troop Sucks, Tower Heist, 2011. But yeah, I don't think anyone's like, oh yeah, Golden Child. Except for me. Because I'd be like, oh my God, Golden Child. Like, big Golden Child fan. So, a private detective specializing in missing children is charged with the task of finding a special child whom dark forces want to eliminate. Brother Numsy. He's one of them. Yeah.
This trivia thing that I read was real interesting. So, this movie was actually written for Mel Gibson at the time, and he declined it.
Wow.
And it was supposed to be like a real serious, much more dark movie. They actually had Eddie Murphy come in, film like these much darker scenes, and I guess it didn't sit well with test audiences. And because of that, like they had Eddie Murphy come in and do some reshoots that added this comedic element to it. But like apparently, like they basically turned it into like Beverly Hills Cop and like Tibet.
Do you know who was supposed to direct it originally?
No, I know that the score was supposed to be done by John Williams.
There was actually a score like recorded by John Williams, and it was supposed to be a John Carpenter movie.
Oh yeah.
Interesting.
And he did Big Trouble in Little China at around the same time as this.
Well, there are so many similarities to this film.
Oh, for sure.
Yes.
And apparently when they brought when they changed the script around and made it a comedy, they wanted George Miller to be the director.
Wow.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Let me get this straight. So this was originally supposed to be directed by John Carpenter.
With a John Williams score
With
starring Gibbo.
Starting Gibbo in a serious movie.
Do it for the Gibbo.
Still try to do a serious movie with Eddie Murphy. Or when they brought him in, they decided to make it a comedy?
I think when they brought him, they decided to make it a comedy.
Okay, I thought they were trying to a serious movie with
And Eddie Murphy wanted George Miller to be the director, but apparently George Miller showed up for the meeting and Eddie Murphy was late, and he's like, fuck this guy.
4 hours late.
4 hours late.
It's like, fuck you, Eddie.
That fucking Sprague, I'm out of here.
I'm now liking the creation of this movie even more.
So a troubled creation for this movie, but the
Wow.
end result,
Yeah.
man, you can't argue with that.
Yeah, this movie's bananas. I mean, I think the biggest note of why we're looking at this film is just, I'm sure a lot of people have seen it, especially if you grew up in the 80s, but what's everyone's go-to Eddie Murphy film?
It's kind of funny.
Oh,
you
it's
say
Beverly
that.
Hills Cop.
Yeah.
Mine's going to be Trading Places.
Yeah.
I watch it every year with Mike and Lamar, so it's a kind of easy one to go to.
It's kind of funny. We all have what's your go-to Eddie Murphy movie, and I think most of them come from the golden age of Eddie Murphy
Oh my
movies
God, you got it.
between like the 80s and early 90s. Coming to America would be a good pick. Me, I'm a 48 Hours guy.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Great movie.
I
Great double
think that
couple
is-
movies.
Yeah, totally.
I actually have a bonding moment with you, Mike, on this. I don't want to get too personal with it, but there's a point in time where Mike and we shared an apartment together.
That's right.
And we watched a lot of movies together.
We watched a shitload of movies.
I think this was this your first time watching 48 Hours? I remember
With you?
bringing
I think
it up to you.
I think
and
it was,
like,
yeah.
have you ever seen this movie? No. I'm like, wow, this is interesting because I think 48 Hours is probably my favorite Eddie Murphy movie. It's my first Eddie Murphy experience, and it's always going to be my favorite. And watching it with you was a magical experience.
Hell yeah, that absolutely. Yeah, I had not seen that movie until we watched it together, and I wouldn't say it's a yearly watch for me, but I've seen it multiple times.
The same here, and that's my go-to.
Yeah,
I saw Trading Places all the time, but this would also kind of be a go-to. The Golden Child, that is, be another go-to for me. Probably because it's PG-13, and my parents are like, whatever. Like, it's not R, so I don't care. So that's probably why I saw it a bunch of times growing up. Jeremy, what would be one of yours?
Eddie Murphy movies?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean Beverly Hills Cop is right there. I mean he's great in these handful of movies that he did before he started making like PG-13 movies and like more family-centric movies. So anything before that time, I mean, I love him in. Yeah, I'm kind of interested to see what they're going to do with this new Beverly Hills Cop that Netflix is doing because it's supposed to be rated R again. And
Yeah, fun story. I believe Jeremy and I saw Beverly Hills Cop 3 in the theater together.
Nice.
yeah,
The movies you guys seen in the theater.
Well, it was like
together.
PG-13 and below. That's like anything goes. That's what I'm saying. Like,
dude, we used to go to. We would go to the theater like once
A
a
week,
week,
yeah.
like, especially over the summer. Every week we would go.
I would say over the summer we would probably be going twice a week. Yeah, it was just so affordable to bring your kids to the theater and kind of drop them off. And it was, again, we've talked about this. It'd be like, here's money enough to get some lunch, and then you could go to the movie and see like a movie, and then someone's parents are going to pick you up.
that ship is fucking sailed.
Oh yeah, because I think it was win-win. Like parents were like, cool, like the kids are out of the house and I could do whatever I want, and they're gonna see a movie and that's gonna be about 2 hours, and they'll be at the mall and that's like another 2 hours, and one parent or set of parents would pick up or drop off and vice versa. So it was like kind of low end, but yeah, as Mike noted, that's gone. I mean, they'd be like, here's $10 and that should get you through the day, and that is not the case right now. And I mean, clearly I'm aware of inflation, but it's just so much money to do that if you want to do that now. Like to eat at the mall?
Oh yeah, I mean you're looking at like a $50
right.
outing right there, easy.
Yeah.
$50 for maybe an hour.
Yeah.
Drop your kids off, and they'll come back with all kinds of weird crap and maybe a gunshot. I don't know.
Wow. Just like the Golden Child.
Hey, did you know that the Golden Child, like the person that Reate, that it was a girl.
Yeah.
It was not a boy.
You know
throughout
what?
this movie.
I'm glad you
And-
brought that up because I went for years up until maybe a year ago that I had no idea.
And they
Yeah.
never acted again.
Well,
I mean, when you create something like this,
That's
so
true.
perfect.
Yeah, this is the one and done, guys.
Well, this movie opens up and we are in Tibet, and basically we meet the Golden Child, and he's being showered with gifts, and these monks at some kind of monastery are celebrating him, and all things are going well, but they're panning out and there's some kind of evil horde of people approaching them. Half
The
of
Marauders.
half of them look like ghoul zoo people. I don't really
Why do the henchmen have to be so
Yeah,
fucking
that's-
ugly in
that's
this
weird.
movie?
Yeah, I don't know really what's going on with that. But they kind of eventually just roll up after some things, and the golden child was given some gifts and some advising, I guess. And I do have this theory that's not really fleshed out, but I have this theory that these monks knew that they were going to die. I mean, there is this prophecy that's noted. Maybe they didn't know it was going to be that moment, but everyone's kind of giving him these gifts that some of them he uses throughout the movie. Like one of them is this flour and he can now eat it. And he basically is eating elven bread where he just doesn't need to eat for the day.
Yeah.
We'll get to all that. But like, I feel maybe these monks kind of knew, but in the moment, I don't think the audience members would ever really know unless you see the golden child like 50 times like me. Well, these marauders roll up, kill everyone, and steal the golden child. And you as an audience member are like, oh no, the golden child, he's gone now. He's gone.
I do want to make a reference. I believe they reference the gender of the kid once, and I think Eddie Murphy's character does reference the golden child as she.
Oh, really?
Yes, I think it's once really early in the movie, and I didn't catch that until this viewing. I have also, like you, Paul, seen this movie maybe 50 times, and I did not catch that until this viewing.
Interesting. Yeah, I also didn't catch that. We do see some of this golden child's powers. She touches a bird that died and it flies off.
Why did they brought like a whole plate of dead birds?
What? How did you say hello?
It was like a charcuterie
Gotta
board
eat.
of dead birds.
What's happy birthday to you in your culture, Mike? Is it not an ornate plate of dead birds?
And you got to have those on hand.
Cats.
That's true, yeah.
Right.
It's a plate of dead cats.
Well, this bird's really handy because the bird flies off as these marauders kill, and the bird does give direction to Eddie Murphy throughout the rest of the film. It's like this sign, follow the bird, almost an extension of the golden child. And we don't really know the golden child's powers all too much right now, but we do know we're listening to The Best Man in the World by a bunch of Wilson kids. And I don't know how they're related, but maybe they're not to A. Wilson, but we're listening to a crazy 80s song. And Eddie Murphy is on the street, Chandler Jarrell, and he's looking for lost children. And I like this background. I think this is interesting. He only takes cases for missing children. For whatever reason, we don't get a full backstory on this, but I kind of get the sense with a lot of other shots, the community likes him. He's working with the police. He's working with detectives. They like him. He's kind of asking kids questions later on. He's on the basketball courts. They like him. So it seems like the community's like, you could talk to that dude. Whatever crimes you're committing, he doesn't want to be involved with. But if it comes to missing kids, talk to that dude. And I kind of like that as a backstory. So
Yeah. He's got a great...
I think you should talk to the guy that was looking at chunky asses.
Chunky asses,
about
yeah.
the missing kids. Yeah.
You know,
Right on the street corner, just like chunky asses.
Chunky
man.
Asses is the sequel to Butt Cake, if I recall.
I also want to make note that Charles Dance plays the bad guy in this movie and plays the exact same bad guy in The Last Action Hero.
Oh,
which
yeah.
is
That's correct.
fucking
which
Arnold
we should
Schwarzenegger
do,
movie.
clearly, as we have brought up, Last Action Hero fun times. Well, Chandler is on a television show. It's like a public access television show. And this dude is clear, the host. He notes like this is his 5th episode. He doesn't really know what he's doing, but he's really nervous. After a series of events, Eddie Murphy just commandeers the microphone and basically is like, dummy, I'm looking for...
Kiss my ass.
Yeah, I'm looking for this kid. If anyone's seen it, this is a kid. Shut up about your turtles. The show's stupid. Call me at this number. It is this child. And he just leaves the set. And then we get to meet Key, who is from Tibet and will be introducing herself to Chandler sometime soon. But she sees this and she's thinking, this is the guy. Yeah, this is the guy.
By the way, Charlotte Lewis, who plays Key, was 18 years old, fresh out of high school when she filmed this
Really?
movie.
Wow.
Really? She looked...
Yeah.
This isn't a diss, but she looked older.
Yeah, I was just saying. Exactly.
I don't disagree, and I'm not saying that to be mean.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have been like, you're 18.
Yeah.
It was a different time.
I think
It was-
that's why
it
Eddie
was-
Murphy took this
Well,
role.
it was 80s 18.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
true.
yeah. It's a harder 18.
Yeah.
Did anybody do any more research on her? Is she in anything else?
probably.
She's the fire starter.
While looking up this cast, it's not a cast that you write home about except for Eddie Murphy. But I was just wondering if anybody else in this movie did anything else besides the villain, who was obviously in.
She did Men of War and Broken Bridges in the 90s.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Oh, good.
Nothing.
Those two.
She was in a Seinfeld episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, man. You say that. I know that episode. That's crazy.
We did it.
Not much, though. Not much of
We figured it out.
notoriety
Yeah.
here.
Well, Eddie Murphy's character is on the streets, and he's playing some basketball, as I noted, with the kids. He's clearly probably asking some questions. It really does establish his background as who he is in the community. Again, it seems like people really like him. And Key introduces herself. She's like, hey, I saw you on the show, and I need you to find this kid for me, and he's from Tibet. And he's just laughing. And I have to assume Eddie Murphy is kind of impromptu riffing here because it's really bad. He's like, oh, you got the scroll and you should put some pot in it, and you smoked one, you had two, and he's making all these pot jokes about smoking a scroll of pot, and it just keeps going. It really needed to be edited out completely. It's just really not funny, and it just keeps going. But she's like, oh, no, it's cool. And then you get kind of this cut where he I think he gets like a phone call. No. He meets up with a detective, and that's why you see kind of this other side of him. And even
they just so was Eddie Murphy like a cop before he was like in this role?
I don't know. Again, maybe it's just something to do with like him working with kids because that
they let him on like crime scenes and he's like taking photographs.
Well, the detective
police are
says,
just like, yeah, it's cool.
I have a job for you. Like, I have this lead and you could take it, but you only take these kid cases. And he's like, yeah, I'm not taking any other job. Like, it's very directly said. And so I'm like, oh, like maybe again, that's the rapport. Like, if it was any other case, they wouldn't let him on, but they're like, dude, this guy solves a lot of kid cases. And I would assume as a police officer, if someone was reputable, you would take any assistance you want on a kid's case, especially, as dark as that is. But yeah, you don't really know. Jeremy, good question. Like, was he a cop? What's really the backstory? I don't fully know. But I do know James Hong is Dr. Hong in this movie.
It's just enough 80s mystique to make it get past. Like, maybe he is a cop. Who knows? But he's just a social worker, pretty much.
Yeah, and as he's on this crime scene, he's kind of, poking around, taking photos, as Jeremy noted. He also prods this bowl of oatmeal that just fills up with blood. I don't know why. That scene really grosses me out. It's like a scene that I really remember as a kid too.
It's because it's really gross.
Yeah, it's just extra gross. You don't want to eat that oatmeal.
You don't put blood in your oatmeal, Paul?
I mean, sometimes. I mean, if you're looking for like a protein heavy kind of breakfast, but
I need more iron.
yeah. Well, the sad thing too is the girl he was looking for, was it Cheryl?
Yeah.
She is unfortunately dead. I could see where this movie could go real dark really quickly, and it's right here. I mean, you have a dead child. They don't talk about it much, and I could see what the original script was in comparison to what I'm seeing, because I feel anything else outside of what I'm seeing, this movie would have instantly been rated R. It's just kind of like you see a body off in the distance. They don't really talk about how she died. There's no real investigation beyond this. It's just she's dead. And now he's going to pick up the case for this missing Tibetan child because apparently he gets a phone call and it's basically the same people who kidnapped Cheryl, who died. They kidnapped the golden child as well. They had him in custody. So find him, or find that group, find them. And Key is aware of this as well.
That's kind of how she gets them in. Because at first when they're talking, he's like, I don't want your weird mystery case. She's like, you're actually already working it. Like that blood was his breakfast.
You're working for free, dipshit.
Mm-hmm.
I offered you a job.
Well, I mean, it shows Eddie Murphy's dedication toward his role as like somebody that's trying to find missing children, because he thinks they're completely fucking batshit crazy throughout like 3/4 of the movie, and he's still just like, yeah, I'm gonna keep helping you guys. You know what?
He has
nice guy.
outside
Just tell me where to go.
I think.
He's a nice guy.
Yeah.
He's up for anything.
GFW.
Well, they do kind of hook up, and now they go to Dr. Hong. They need some advice. And James Hong, who if I have not mentioned on air, I know we have all talked about it before. James Hong, I feel, is a national treasure. This dude is in so many films.
Yeah.
This dude is in his 90s now. We're clearly going to get to Big Trouble in Little China at some point in time. Oh my God, amongst like that role as Lo Pan, he is in so many other notable roles. He is playing Dr. Hong in this. And he's like, yeah, well, let me tell you, like, you're kind of supposed to find this golden child. And you know, Eddie Murphy keeps hearing this. So he's like, cool.
But you might be the chosen one.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, like, let's go talk to this woman behind
Yeah.
the screen.
There's like
She's smoking, and you'll hear a bunch of rattling. Don't worry about
No,
that.
this is the snake lady. She'll tell you.
Yeah, and he's like, so what's the deal with the golden child? And she's like, well, you know, he's kidnapped, and you got to find him, or, you know, there's going to be problems. He's like, wow. And she's like, well, the world will become a hell if you don't. So
No one wants that.
yeah, you don't want that. And then that night, I would like after like cruising around, Key drops him off. Yeah, I'm trying to think of the order of this. Key drops him off, and Key's like, yeah, take it easy. We'll talk more about the golden child. You're gonna find him, and everything's gonna be cool. He's like, hey, you want to go upstairs? And she's like, no.
No.
He's like, well, I think you're always supposed to ask a woman twice. She's like, well, I've just said no twice, so get the hell out of my car. And he leaves.
He does leave.
Yeah, it was a mini flirt, but you know
he's trying.
It sets the tone.
He's planting the seeds. We learn a little bit more about the kid's powers in this next scene. When they kidnap him originally, Brother Numsy tells the goons to don't touch him, whatever you do, because he's got powers.
Yeah, if you get touched by him and you're evil, he'll basically possess you to become good and become one of his good puppets. It's a good thing.
Touched by an angel.
Yeah,
He does make a Pepsi can come to life here.
yeah. The Pepsi can dances to putting on the Ritz.
As one does.
Yeah, and the goons are pretty excited about this.
They are, man. That one, the one goon is just enthralled by this
The
little
main
child.
goon,
The
that
main
one.
goon number one.
Well, it's a dancing Pepsi can. I mean,
You don't see that every day.
you know,
No.
especially when you're just
No.
guarding this kid all day.
No.
Doing okay.
Yeah, like in the goons, there's two main goons really. There's many goons, but only two you see their faces, and one of them looks like fucking
Voldemort.
Yeah.
like a monkey Voldemort. The other one is looks like he's been hit by a car.
Oh,
Yeah.
the one that looks like
Like Seth Rogen has been hit by a car.
I was gonna. What's the guy from Star Trek? Core.
Oh, I know. Yeah,
Someone. There's
the Irish guy.
no. There's plenty of TNG fans in here.
Who are you trying
Worf?
to describe?
Worf.
Yeah, the Klingon.
Yeah, this
okay.
head's-
Yeah. He exactly like a Worf.
Ah, all right.
I don't know what Star Trek is. What are you talking about?
It's like Star. It's one of the
Gotcha.
Star Wars.
It's one of them.
I'm so sick of all these Star Wars.
The Golden Child, like amongst all this weirdness, does send an astral projected image kind of dream beamed right to Eddie Murphy. And his bird is there. So like the bird is there. Now the bird's a spirit guide. Mike, this is the
bird.
Crow. This is the Crow. This is the
damn it.
1986 version of the Crow. You follow this bird that died. And you'll get powers, and it can't rain all the time in Tibet because it snows. Boom.
Right.
Yeah.
That's sad.
Gotcha. I got you there, full circle.
There was
This is where he gets a phone call tip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who called him?
Some random.
We
guy.
don't know.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
never really
Yeah.
find out. But we do find out the next song is by Rat, and it's Baby Talk by Rat. And they're a bunch of weird biker dudes
the-
watching Rat videos.
The motorcycle gang is into this video.
Oh, yeah.
Rat is for motorcycle gangs, I think.
Yeah,
I mean, the Rat does do what is their
Motorcycle gangs that are into human trafficking.
Exactly.
Definitely rat
What
bunch.
is their song? That round and round. I think
Goes
that's
around,
Rat,
comes
right?
around?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's him.
Well, what goes around does come around.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah, I mean, he follows. What does he follow the motorcycle gang? Or he follows the bird to
he
the
follows the
motorcycle?
bird to the motorcycle.
Him
Yeah.
and with Key.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Listen, it's Crow 101. Caw, caw. And then he sees Crow vision. He sees the bird and he comes in. He paints his face. He listens to Mike's favorite array of music. He actually does none of those things. He gets his ass kicked almost immediately and tied to a wall or a radiator or some kind of pipe work.
Thankfully, even though he told Key to stay in the car, she didn't.
She just comes in and just busts ass. She is kicking people in the face, through walls, kicking doors down.
Yeah. She busts open like a jug of water so that she can fight the rest of the scene.
No, it was the sprinkler
Oh,
system.
the sprinklers. Okay, yeah. With
Because
with
this
a wet
house
t-shirt.
had a sprinkler
Yeah.
fucking system.
Well, you can't be too safe. It's, what if code enforcement shows up?
Well, good thing she was wearing that sheer white T-shirt.
The
to get
white
wet.
shirt.
Yeah.
I remember this scene being a lot more lively when I was younger.
Yeah, there's something.
I don't know if over the years it darkened up and it was no longer see-through, but
I don't know. You see what you want to see.
yeah, exactly.
Well, as Key is just beating ass left and right, she does get Eddie Murphy free, and one of the thugs is still kind of conscious, and they, beat him up a little bit. And he's like, oh, well, we sold this other kid, and, these other people wanted this other kid, which they're referencing the Golden Child. And they're at this restaurant, and it's Tommy Tong.
Yeah, they
Tommy
sold
Tong.
Tong for like some cigarettes and like
And
some fried rice.
some fried rice. That's right.
Yeah, so as you do, and then pretty much hard cut right to Tommy Tong in the restaurant. Eddie Murphy comes in hot. A bunch of dudes are eating food, and I would imagine, based on what I'm shown in the scene, no one really knows a lot of English. So Eddie Murphy is just yelling at them. It's very awkward, this scene. But then Tommy Tong comes in and he wants to fight.
Yeah, it's almost an
swords.
instant fight. There's very little dialogues. Like Eddie Murphy's like, "You motherfuckers, where's this child?" Very little English is talked, and there's a fight.
Yeah, when it's not so much a fight as more of an ass beating.
That's true.
This scene was very reminiscent to Rush Hour for me.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
Going to the restaurant, fighting some people.
Yeah. Chris Tucker do you understand the words that are coming out of his mouth? And then he gets his ass kicked.
Well, Sardo, the guy in charge, eventually just ends Tommy Tong. He was a loose end, and we don't really want that. And here's something I didn't really understand. I thought Sardo was the devil. He basically alludes to being the devil the whole time.
Is this Numsy?
Yeah, Brother Numsy.
Yeah.
Who's
He's
Sardo?
just a demon.
Yeah, but he is reporting to another guy like he's Darth Vader reporting to the Emperor, and this guy is not in charge.
Oh, you mean Dr. Claw that he's talking
Yeah,
to?
like,
Yeah, he rolls out the prayer rug
Gadget.
and faces east and talks to the devil.
Yeah.
Yeah, you need to get the Ajanti dagger. And this is the plan that, the guy from Mad is narrating to us, like, Gadget. He basically says, we're going to get the Ajanti dagger. And he's like, oh, but they'll never give it to us. He's like, you're going to get the damn dagger, dude.
What did I say?
They're going to get it. And you're going to be like, I'll trade the kid for it. But here's the cool part of the plan. But we're just going to kill the kid with the dagger. So I was like, huh. Like,
Why didn't the devil do this at the very, they knew the devil knows the dagger's on planet Earth or whatnot, because it says, oh, it's not of this world, but he knows it's there.
I don't think.
Why didn't they just go get the fucking dagger in the first place and kill the kid?
I don't think he could get it.
No, he couldn't get over there with the water. So
And there was another way to kill the kid. I think if the kid
they had to make
drank
him
the
eat that blood.
Yeah, so I think they're just waiting on that plan, which isn't going. And
But only-
then Dr.
This
Claw
is-
showed up. He's like, just get the dagger.
This fucking demon
But
seems
only
amateur.
only one person could get the dagger.
rookie shit.
I mean, that's like the one goal in this is Eddie Murphy's the only dude who could get this dagger.
Well, he's the chosen one.
He's
Right.
the chosen one.
So yeah, like the devil can't do this. But they're gonna try.
Yeah, but
also,
Numsy can.
this is a weird plan. Like, hey, we're gonna get the dagger from them, and then give them the kid, but kill the kid. They won't see that coming.
It's a
Like,
long
what-
play.
what?
It's a long, hard play, but they can pull it off.
They cannot pull it off.
I feel like they could have sprayed the golden child like in the face with mace, and then using like a long fucking spoon apparatus, just like slip some of that oatmeal blood in his mouth. Boom. Then you kill him.
You think they sell oatmeal blood at the store? Okay.
Yeah. Quaker Oats oatmeal blood.
At Aldi's.
Quicker oatmeal blood.
And that's the thinking that Numsy needed days before. Where were you?
Where can I get?
I know, man.
Where can I get vegan oatmeal blood?
It's critical thinking skills, guys.
No, he doesn't. Well, I don't really get the transition here.
We get a dream sequence.
We get a dream sequence. Eddie
Eddie
That's a
Murphy
weird
sees a
one.
white horse
he
walk by.
in his mansion.
He's like, "That's not right. This doesn't seem right." And then we see a bunch of the henchmen. He's like, "These people don't even seem right. Even
Yeah.
in my dream, these goofballs."
It's
don't."
like Billy Madison's happy place.
Right.
Yeah.
Every time he cracks a joke, there's a live studio audience laughing at him.
And then Brother Numsy, Sardo,
Numsy shows
appears.
up,
He's
yeah.
like, "Listen, dude, I do like kind of the opening." He's like, "Listen, I'll give you like basically whatever you want. Like, I just give me this kid. Let's play ball."
Yeah.
And Eddie Murphy immediately is like, "Kiss
No.
my ass."
Yeah, I
quote
don't want
unquote.
to.
And that doesn't work for Brother Numsy.
No. He tries to talk his way through it, but it doesn't work. He gives Eddie Murphy a burn on his arm
In a dream.
in a dream.
But he wakes up and he's still got that burn.
oh my god.
You got to put some ointment on that burn dream.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dream burn.
Don't want it to get
Benadryl.
involved.
Dr. Dream burn.
Oh, what's that?
Yeah. No, sorry. Okay.
Well, the
Well,
next
they have to go back and talk
Yeah,
to
make
the
a gold
dragon
bug.
lady.
Well, the next night, unlike the first time, they're driving around and Key's like, "Hey, you want me to stay the night?" And he's like, "I thought you were not into that." She's like, "I am." So she stays the night.
It's like I wasn't into it until I needed you to go to Tibet with me to get this dagger.
And she
Now I'm
saw-
into it.
He's got some dream burns.
Yeah.
So it's real.
It is real.
And so, yeah, he does agree after some sexy times. He's like, "Yeah, I'll go to Tibet with you. Let's go to Kathmandu.
Yeah.
Let's find this kid. I'm going to get on the worst airlines ever. This is going to be super awful."
Yeah.
And then they get to Kathmandu. And she's like, "Listen, I'm going to get some provisions. We need some like animals to get us there. We might need a raft. We need several things. You have an hour in the market. Go check things out." And he does. He's like, "Okay." And he runs into the Old Goupa.
Well, he sees the bird.
Yeah.
The bird's
wh-
flying.
Yes.
Well, it leads them to Old Goupa.
Yeah.
That's true. You fly
And
right over
and
there.
old Goupa is like, yeah, Egg from Big Trouble in Little China is
Yeah.
like pointing at some medallions and some necklaces, and Eddie Murphy's like, "Okay, I want this blue one, and I'll give you $1." And Old Goupa takes $100 bill, gives him the wrong necklace, and basically, eventually, after Eddie Murphy keeps asking for his money back, he says, "You're breaking my heart, asswipe."
Taking them around.
Yeah, and after an exchange of unpleasantries, he disappears like Obi-Wan Kenobi, and Eddie Murphy is super pissed about this. But after a series of days, they finally get to a monastery, and oh my god, it's Old Goupa's there, and they have to spin these kind of wheels and talk sing. And Eddie Murphy...
I love this. I don't know why.
Yeah, Eddie Murphy does not take this seriously whatsoever, and
Starts like rapping.
yeah, and gives it like a spin of a record, like wicka wicka, like kind of like that. Very, very offensive. Old Goupa asks him to repeat his request, and then does decide that he can go get the dagger, the Ajanti dagger, and he's going to do this. And I have a little side note for this, so this is kind of crazy. Flashback, this movie came out in December 1986, and I specifically remember the following scene. So he is granted permission to go get this dagger, so he goes down these like lengthy steps, and he's holding this glass of water, and the mission is, you've got to go across these platforms and hold this water and not lose a drop. And when he looks over, he realizes there's a series of logs. There's this huge logs that he's crossing, like log to log. And he flips a coin down. He's like, "How tall is this?" And it's endless. It's like a bottomless mystic pit. And I remember seeing this before I saw the movie, because yes, there used to be critics out there who would review films unlike the current times, like Rabbit Troop Sucks and podcast, but they would actually show this on television, and I saw this as an episode of Siskel and Ebert, and this is the scene they showed. So they wouldn't show previews, Sometimes they would be like, here's the preview of the film, but Siskel and Ebert would have an exclusive of like a 1.5 minute straight up clip of films. So they would be talking about it for 15 minutes and then show you this clip exclusive, and this was definitely it. Not the whole thing, but it was, him getting there and being like, oh my God, this pit is endless. Like, you're making jokes, and then it's, how do I get across? And then they probably stopped it and then were like, let's talk about this film. A very memorable thing. I was at my grandma's house. I know my brother was there. I think my mom was there too. I miss those days. I miss those clip exclusives.
Those are
crazy
great times.
December 86.
I do like in this scene how he just keeps jawing with the old man, like through the door, like up the stairs. They just keep yelling back and forth at each other.
Keep doing it. Well, he does. Yeah, he gets across these platforms and there's this dagger that he reaches to get, and he tries to put some of the water on, and it's just not working. Very Indiana Jones Last Crusade. It's, you just need to drink it. And that's what he does. So he drinks it and gets the dagger.
Yeah.
We don't see him leave. Seems like that's a big pain in the ass to get out, but he's out.
Yeah.
And then quickly he's at the airport. And he's like, I'm not going to...
No, he's talking to the old man
that's right. He
again
gets advice.
at the monastery.
Yes.
Then you find out that Key is his daughter,
That's right.
actually. And essentially the scene plays out like Eddie inadvertently asks for his daughter's hand in marriage. The guy's like, yeah, whatever. Then goes down and talks to his daughter and is like, hey, if you want to marry this guy, you're 18. He's 46.
You gotta be pure.
have at it.
What do you mean be pure? You know what I mean.
They didn't know anymore.
Yeah, Old Goupa is Key's father. And this is brought out not to Eddie Murphy, but Key also asks some questions. And he offers freely advice and permissions and says, when you want to marry him, you have my blessing. And he actually defends him. He is there. You see them, both Old Goupa and Eddie Murphy, and they seem to be at odds. But away, Old Goupa says nothing but pleasantries about him. He's ambitious and he does all these things. And Key even says that, he believes in nothing. And Old Goupa says, yeah, but he still tries to do the right thing, even though he believes, in nothing. And she's like, he's foolish. And he's like, I like him too. So you get to see that other side. And then he's like, yeah, when you want to marry him. And then they're at the airport. And Eddie Murphy's like, I am never getting out of this airport with this, 2-foot dagger right here. I mean, my whole thought was like, couldn't you be like, I'm in like an archaeologist. I'm going to file this. I have a forge. They couldn't have forged anything.
He didn't even try.
No.
I know, but they only talked about this
poor
at
fucking Freddy.
Yeah, they only talked about this at the security gate. Like, come
Right.
on. So yeah, this guy Freddy gets in front of him. He plants the dagger. I kind of like this scene because, man, Freddy gets railed here.
He does.
Freddy gets thrown to the floor, yelled at, kicked in the ass, cursed at, and run off. And then Eddie Murphy's like, I'll see you on the plane, Freddy. And then he says...
Yeah, this was pre 9/11, so
yeah, he said,
airport security is probably like, listen, just get on the fucking plane, dude.
Yeah.
We got shit to do.
Kind of slam on the Nepalese security. They just allow all of this to happen.
But those guards weren't top tier.
That's true. He smooths his way right through this
he
thing.
smooths his way by flashing his open wallet and shouting that he's the American Stolen Artifacts Foundation
Makes
expert,
sense.
and they sent him out. And then everyone's smiling. There's that one guy smiling.
That one guy. And once you see this movie, you'll know the guy.
You'll all know the smiling guy. So they get away with it, and then they fly home. There seems to be another improv scene, I should say, where Eddie Murphy puts on some headphones and starts singing Tibetan music. Key, the actress, totally breaks. She's clearly just laughing alongside and then tries to compose herself. So it seems like one long camera run that maybe could have been edited down, or shot that could have been edited down. But maybe they're like, this is gold. This is Eddie Murphy riffing. It was okay.
Gold, Jerry.
Yeah.
It's fine.
It was only okay.
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah. Then they get to the airport, and now you get to really know the origin of Brother Numsy.
Yeah, Numsy's there with a bunch of police officers. This, I love this movie. This scene doesn't really make any sense.
I mean, sort of. Yes, I agree. The scene does not make sense. The way out does, and they should have just had a different conversation where Sardo's like, I'm going to get the authorities, etc., not have them. So Eddie Murphy gets to the airport and Dr. Hong's like, oh, thank you for the artifact. We will be delivering this. And they're like, very good. And then they walk 5 feet out of customs and Sardo's there with probably like half a dozen.
Like 5 cops.
Yeah, like half a dozen cops. He's like, listen, this guy stole stuff from me. And he literally says, he's like, it's your ass. Like, if you don't do it, you're all getting fired. I want my shit back. Go get this guy. He literally has it on him. Eddie Murphy does say something that makes sense, just the scene no longer does. Yeah. Eddie Murphy, yes, comes, he's like, it's my brother Numsy. Brother Numsy. I flog me, arrest me. I've betrayed my brother Numsy. And they talk on the side. And Sardo's like, dude, what the shit? Like, you can't keep this charade going. What are you doing? And Eddie Murphy does have some logic. And he goes, here's the deal, dude. If you want them to arrest me, they're going to arrest me, but they're not just going to give you this object. Let me give you a little, like, a police tip 101. They're
chain of custody.
Yeah, they're going to take that object and put it into a box and then lock that up. So it's evidence. And then when we meet in court in the next month plus, then you'll see it again. And then maybe you'll get it. So if you want it now, you're screwed. And then he's like, oh, yeah. So, yeah, Jeremy, you're totally right.
Again, amateur demon now.
Yeah, this should have just been like, I'm going to call the authorities, and him saying, if you do this, this is what I'm going to do. And then Brother Numsy should have just gone to the parking lot and slit his throat.
Yeah, why he should have just rolled him in the parking lot. Like, if you walk up to cops and they're like, hey, there's a guy getting off a plane with a thing that's mine, can you get it? They're going to be like, who the fuck are you? Like...
Unless he convinced him he was some sort of political or something. I don't know. But like, there was none of that before.
You've got like a leather cape, so it's probably chill.
That's all that you need. It's just that.
Yeah.
A little scarf. Make sure you look important. You can get whatever you need.
Well, he has a British accent, so, that gets you a long way.
Yeah, so now we're out of the airport, and I don't know, this guy could have just taken the knife at any point in time.
No. But he doesn't want to.
Why?
I don't know.
Yeah, this is where the movie breaks down a little bit. Like, it should have been like, I don't know, this guy can't take the dagger, something about this dagger, but he can take the dagger, and they basically just go back to Key's house. Key also lives in a very nice house.
This is a dope house, yeah.
Yeah, dope house, man.
Like dope, like forest mansion.
Yeah.
Like, what's going on there?
But
yeah, like in the mountains,
though.
like the hills of Los Angeles. Yeah.
Maybe, I mean... She's from Tibet. Maybe it was like an Airbnb or a Verbo or something.
That might be the case.
In 86.
It was a drug mule house.
Yeah. That's what I'm probably, talking about.
Yeah. One of those houses where they film pornos.
Come stay in my friend's drug mule house. You'll love it.
But this mansion, it gets Key Randy,
Yeah.
She wants some more loving.
Yeah.
That's fair.
She's ready to go.
She's ready to go this time, but
Eddie Murphy
he's
says
not.
No. Yeah.
A lot has changed. He's more focused on the task, and she, after getting rejected, she goes to bed lonely and kind of frustrated.
Yeah. Well, yeah, she stops by his room as he's handcuffing the dagger in a briefcase. Well, there's a dagger in a briefcase that he's handcuffing to his wrist, and she's like, "Oh, are you gonna come to bed?" Like, kind of seductively, and she's like, "No." And she's like, "Oh." Yeah, well, I'll be in the other room.
There's only one dagger I care about tonight.
Also, why in God's name? Why in God's name is he handcuffing this to his hand?
I don't know.
That's how
you lose a hand.
Did back in the fucking 80s.
If you don't want something to lose, just handcuff it. Bag of Coke.
I mean,
whatever you need, just handcuff it to your hand. You'll never lose it.
Magic exists now, and this guy might be evil.
Might be evil.
Well, I still think Eddie Murphy's
skeptical,
hesitant on believing all this bullshit.
Yeah, he's still skeptical, but I don't know. This is how you lose a hand. Well, quickly, these thugs try to break in this super awesome forest mansion. And he's like, we got to get out of here. And Key's like, okay. So he fumbles down this, like, I don't know, pipe and trellis. And she just jumps off like a 2-story balcony.
Right.
And he's looking up as he gets down, and she's already there. She's like, let's go. And yet again, all the thugs start attacking, and Eddie Murphy has very little help, and Key just kicks the shit out of everyone. She's flipping around. She's kicking people in faces. He's doing his best, beating people a little bit up with the handcuff briefcase, but he's not doing much. Unfortunately, Sardo just appears. And so this is the problem I have yet again when people like to get undefined magic is this guy could just appear, dude, then just appear in the effing bedroom, take the dagger and leave. But he has to appear like at the tennis courts outside of the mansion.
Yeah.
And then takes a crossbow and shoots it, and Key does 1,000 backflips and clearly does this to protect Eddie Murphy and takes the arrow to her heart and dies.
Right into her fucking, right in the back.
Got sardoed. Brother Numsy. Come on.
Numsy.
He's been
She
Numsy.
did get Numsied. Well, yeah, she's fucking dead. But thankfully, Dr. Hung.
Yeah, back at Dr. Hong's house.
Yeah, he's got a
Dr. Well Hung.
Dr. Well Hung. He's got a plan. He's like, as long as you get the kid to touch her foot before it's dark out,
well, that's
it's gonna be fine.
It's not really his plan.
Yeah, there's so many rules to get added on to like
It's-
just keep the movie going. Like, oh, we need a
It's
football
the
here.
snake woman's plan.
That's true.
Oh, that's right. It was Snake Woman.
She's like, as long as there's light still on her body, everything's gonna be a-okay, bro. And then and then Eddie Murphy goes ballistic and tears down the screen, and you can see this woman is half
It's like,
snake.
oh shit, this bitch is a snake.
And Eddie Murphy doesn't say anything. He's just like,
He has the same look on his face that we all did when we discovered
Yeah.
like, what the
Well, her relatives were raped by dragons.
Right, yeah.
That was explained earlier in the film.
the little tirade he goes on before he tears the screen down, where he says, listen, lady, you can't just be dancing around naked in this basement smoking cigarettes all day. That's the life I want to live.
when
I know.
Give me a basement and a pack of cigarettes. Shit.
Pack of cools.
Yeah, let me go at it, man.
I feel you're asking the listeners to kidnap and abuse you at this point.
That's give me a screen to dance behind.
as long as he has a screen to dance behind, it's so cool. So,
Rabbit
all
Troop
right.
listeners, do you want Mike to dance behind a screen? Just kidnap him and feed him cigarettes. And,
Yeah.
and he has been on air highlighting that's the life you are going to give him pleasure.
Yeah.
Oh god.
Okay, I've committed to it. That's fine.
Yeah, you have to touch a snake though.
No.
Shut your hole.
Not getting up from that.
Damn.
Yeah, so that just kind of ends. Like he's like, you're half snake woman, and then he
Okay,
just
cool.
leaves and follows the bird again. The bird's like, caw. And Joy Division song plays, and he laces up his boots and goes rooftop to rooftop. No, he just drives. Did anyone catch his car? His weird 80s car?
You know what? I don't,
No.
but my neighbor has the same car.
Was it a
Wait,
cutlass?
your neighbor now has the same car?
Yes,
That
it's a
car?
old. Yeah,
Oh,
it's
God.
burgundy color. It's the same, probably the same year. It's old
Ah.
and shitty, and they always take my spot in front of the building. I hate them.
Motherfuckers.
Not a shout out to them.
I have no idea what I want to say. So
They're avid listeners.
I hope not.
Not anymore. They were like, I was just going to buy the shower curtain. Now I'm not. Oh, sorry. Side note, everybody.
Oh,
Not that we've posted this, but I know a lot of you love our merchandise. But we got an email from our merchandising company, and there's a no on the yoga mats right now. So
Sorry.
if you were looking for yoga mats, they're out of yoga mats. No one's selling these yoga mats right now. We didn't even have them to go. But when we can, we're going to get those yoga mats to you. High demand. That email can't stop us.
No.
So take that.
Yeah, there's no stopping.
In the
us.
meantime, feel free to purchase a couple dozen mouse pads.
hey,
make your own.
You
yoga
can make
mat.
your own yoga mat. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now you're
Yeah.
thinking.
Yeah.
Do we have pillows?
Again,
Yeah, we have
critical
throw
thinking.
pillows.
Rabbit Troop sucks. We support critical thinking.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, of course. But yeah, I mean, this will not prevent you from doing yoga. So just, I assure you. But yeah, super side note. But okay, so now Eddie Murphy is hell bent on a mission. He's like, I've got to save Key. I love this woman. I slept with her a couple days ago and now want to marry her, and everything seems to be falling into place.
Yeah, things are moving fast.
But she's dead, and that's going to be a problem.
Yeah,
so I got to
that's
get
not gonna work for me.
I got to get the golden child. He's got to touch her before there's no more daylight on her body, i.e., it becomes night. So he's like, he says, I'm gonna go follow her, or this bird, and he trusts in the bird. He keeps his mind open, and the bird leads him to this weirdo mansion. And in this mansion, he does take down a guard pretty quickly.
Yeah.
And I like how they left the dagger just fucking sitting on the floor.
That is my
of one of the
comment.
rooms.
So the dagger is gone. So the dagger is gone. Once they killed Key, they took the dagger, which I don't think they really showed. I thought he still had the dagger at some point in time.
No, it showed after he shot Key, like he went and picked up the briefcase, which miraculously was no longer attached to Eddie Murphy's wrist, and walked off into the night
just
with
broke
it.
off.
And now,
Yeah.
It was tin handcuffs.
I tell you guys all the time, don't use low
They were
quality
sex cuffs.
briefcase chains.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
It's a false economy.
so I totally agree, Jeremy.
Yeah,
that
it's just on the floor like in a pile of newspapers.
Yeah, he walks into this mansion, and it seems like maybe some cult, weird psycho priests were doing some stuff. But yeah, just like 5 feet away from him is this dagger. This dagger that they went through all this trouble to get. Eddie Murphy just picks it up, and then he goes up some stairs. One of the henchmen is dead. He basically hangs himself accidentally after Eddie Murphy pulls down his chain. Then another guy approaches him, but in another scene before that, the Golden Child, as Mike noted, has powers, and he touched one of these henchmen and basically put him under his Golden Child spell, and this henchman has been working for him. So this henchman is now taking out other henchmen. Eddie Murphy just acknowledges this, like, all right, bro, like you killed one guy, I guess you're my friend. They both get to the Golden Child. They both free him from his weird, like, claptrap kind of.
what is the fucking head bad guy doing now? Like the Demon Knight.
He's
doing. Like, what is he doing? What is he
Well,
doing?
when we see him, they walk into a room and he's just standing there staring at a wall, like he's in fucking timeout or something.
He is in timeout. Again, he
The
has.
devil put him in timeout for being so
Yeah.
fucking dumb.
Yeah,
Numsy.
I don't know what's going on. Yeah, he just got Blair Witched. He's in the corner, just standing there doing nothing. I don't know what's going on, but I do like Eddie Murphy tells the bewitched henchman. He's like, just watch after the kid. I'm gonna go in this other room. I'm the chosen one. This is only gonna take a second. And he opens the door. Jeremy's totally correct. He's like the dude in Blair Witch, just standing in the corner doing nothing. But I like that Eddie Murphy's like, this is just going to take a moment. And all of a sudden I just wrote, this dude pops out as a bone demon.
Yeah.
Flesh bone.
He looks like if you dug up Ernest Borgnine's corpse today. Like, that's what it would look like.
Yeah. Brother Numsy explodes, flesh off. And this guy's just some weird, like, claymation bone demon. He's standing in a bunch of flames. He's like, no. And I like Eddie Murphy. One, we never see this other henchman again. This guy,
he's gone.
This guy is in a better place. He grabs the Golden Child. Is like, we've got to get the hell out of here.
Yeah.
So they get in the car. He's like, where are my keys? And I also have a question. Where are his keys? Why are his keys not in that car?
Was that even his car, or did he just take someone else's?
Well, he's like, the keys aren't here. And he just kept saying that. And my thought is, weird story is like, did the henchman see that he parked, kept his keys in the car, and took them away?
I
Like,
think he
like a
did.
little prank. Like, this guy's not leaving.
Son of a
Either
bitch.
that or a scene was cut where the keys were, I don't know how they were missing, but I think that scene was
He had to
missing.
leave his keys in exchange for the fucking
Yeah,
dagger.
maybe.
Like, all right, you got to leave your keys in this pile of
I'm
newspapers.
gonna need a deposit if you're taking.
Maybe
this
that was a
thing.
long 15-minute scene that was cut from the movie. That
Well, the Golden Child, she touches his hand as he's touching the steering wheel, and it basically, you see an electric charge go through his hand, and it just ignites. But something else happens. He just turns around and goes, everything's just going to be okay. And it's like a very
why wouldn't it?
tranquil, like, sincere thought. And my thought is, like, was he kind of just, like, nicely bewitched? Like, this guy just got the ginseng infusion of my bewitching. Like, come on, dude, take some B vitamins, bring it down a notch. And she goes, I know. It's like the one of two lines the Golden Child has. And he just drives off. Just drives and drives. There's a bone demon doing some weird shit flying around.
It's flying around.
But
I love the bone demon.
On its bone wings.
Yeah, because it's like
Let's consult the bone wings.
like they didn't even try with this. There's no. It's like the seventh voyage of Sinbad or whatever. Like they did.
yeah.
There was
Oh,
no
yeah.
effort to make this look good, but it looks
Right.
great.
Yeah.
I think that's why I like it so much. It
Yeah.
has that weird feel like this looks not really that bad, but this is passable because you don't see it that long or that often. Just enough to know it's a threat, it's demonic, it's chasing them in a shitty car.
you're like, in a few ways, this feels like a bone demon.
And it's a bone demon, and that's all you need to know, damn it.
Right.
Well, he just drives and drives and drives. And luckily, they get back to Dr. Hong's shop. You know what's funny? No one's there. No one.
No, they go to an old abandoned factory first. Like he wrecks his car, and then they fight a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
And then he gets back in his car, which is not wrecked annimore, and drives off.
I forgot about
to
it. Yeah,
Dr.
I wrote old
Hong
abandoned
shop.
factory silo. Yeah, you're totally right. That was a little pit stop. Yeah, then they get back in the car, and then they get to Dr. Hong's shop. There is no one at Dr. Hong's shop. Like, where the hell is anyone?
They had something to do.
What?
Well, they had to consult that fucking dragon lady. Her feelings were hurt from
That was at
Eddie
Dr. Hong's
Murphy's
shop,
last
though.
visit.
No one's there.
Oh,
No one's there at all. There's
the dead lady's
Oh, yeah,
there.
Yeah, they left her on the table.
Key's dead body is in the basement, but no one's in this place at all. You would think they'd be like hanging around, like they know what's at stake. They're like, if the Golden
Now
Child
you get that
dies,
mansion
like,
in the hills,
yeah,
dude.
hell on earth is going to come out. But that's
Right.
cool. After a prolonged look over at Key, like a full minute, Eddie Murphy's like, "We could do it." I'm like, "Dude, do it,
do it now.
And then boom, Bone Demon pops out.
Did it
Still
go
alive.
from the factory all the way to this
Yes.
fucking
Yes.
shop
Yes.
underground? Like,
Yeah.
it,
Yes.
It was digging, man.
like a fucking mole, the bone mole.
Yeah, it traveled underground because it was crushed by all the pillars and the weird
Silo place.
silo, yeah.
yeah.
So angry.
It just popped up on the ground like a mole, like you said.
Well, it takes hold of the knife, and it tries to get Eddie Murphy with the knife, but he's able to kick the knife out, and the Golden Child uses the force and reels it back.
He tries to stab Eddie Murphy, but the medallion that Egg sold him for
Yeah.
$100
That's right.
stopped it.
Yeah.
Special medallion.
Fucking best $100 ever
Best,
spent.
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
indeed.
And then the Golden Child,
Uses the force.
uses the force.
And it's like, here it is. And then he Eddie Murphy, that is, stabs brother Numsy right back to hell.
Yeah. Right back. And he explodes.
Oh, he bone explodes.
Yeah.
Bone explosion.
Bone Explosion is a movie that we will not be
that's another
covering in
shirt
the
that we
Mike,
should
future.
develop there.
it's too
The
late.
bone
The
splosion.
boning has already begun.
Oh, shit.
That's a porno, isn't it?
Bone Explosion.
Yeah.
Yep.
I don't want any
The
part of that.
boning
The boning. Yeah.
is like Bone Gallagher, but he wasn't exploding watermelons this time.
Damn.
Bone Gallagher. Yeah.
Getting a bone in the eye 5 rows back.
5 bones back.
That too.
Well, he got Bone Gallagher right good. Bone Demon is dead. Key has been touched. Key is back alive. And Key's like, great. So what do? They slap a hat on the Golden Child. There's a slight talk of like, oh, so you're going away for 2 weeks and bringing back the Golden Child. And I had a questions. Like, they're walking around like a park like they're a family now. I don't really know what's happening.
yeah.
Why is the Golden Child going, like, the Golden Child's going back to Tibet to do
Right.
what? Like,
Sit in that monastery some more.
well, the Golden Child was just supposed to, like, take care of Brother Numsy. Now Numsy's dead.
Well, yeah, she's retiring
No.
Yeah.
to
Like,
Nepal.
like at the age of, like, 9?
Yeah.
You're just
Sure.
you're just done?
yeah.
Don't you want to
Yes,
retire
I've
by
had enough of this
9?
shit.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, and why not?
I mean, that's how you do it. You slay a bone demon.
Walk off with your macaw on your shoulder and
Right.
call it a day.
Yeah. And they do, and that's the end of the movie.
Yeah.
You get a little Eddie Murphy.
Oh yeah, and I even
Gotta
noted.
put
I was
that-
like, you can't end an Eddie Murphy movie without doing a little bit of an Eddie Murphy laugh. That's crazy talk.
Yeah.
Well, before we get into our final reviews of The Golden Child from 1986, as always, if you'd like to reach out to us, feel free to reach out to us through several means. You could go to our email proper, rabbittroopsuckspodcast@gmail.com. Do you have a movie you'd like us to review? Do you have some ideas for movies? Do you have ideas you want to share? Do you want to hear Mike's sultry sound clips? Or are you going to kidnap Mike
Do you
and
want
put
me to
him
be in
behind the
your
screen?
basement? That's fine too.
If you need help with that, let us know. Rabbit Troop Sucks Podcast at gmail.com. Feel free to go to our website proper, rabbittroopsucks.com. We will have some new pictures up coming up soon. And, some other pictures probably coming up from before. So go check out some pictures.
Pictures of stuff.
And merchandise and various other things.
Yoga mats TBD, but other
Yeah.
things for now.
But the yoga did not stop. Just remember,
No.
attention. The yoga commences. So do not give up on your yoga. But yeah,
Hot yoga.
it could be a hot yoga mat. We're also on forms of social media, Instagram, Facebook. Hit us up. Thanks for always writing us. I've noted this many times. I know a lot of people have highlighted, certain movies that they connect to when they saw when they're younger or still watch today, or have given us recommendations. Awesome. Always glad to hear from everyone. But yeah, let us know anything that you want us to know. Golden Child. What's everyone thinking? Golden Child.
Golden Child, I love this movie. It is not the quintessential Eddie Murphy movie, but I feel like it should be on your list if you're going through Eddie Murphy movies. It's not 48 Hours, like I mentioned, one of my top Eddie Murphy movies. It's not Beverly Hills Cop 1 or 2. It's not Coming to America. But
Is it Dr. Dolittle?
It's right in his wheelhouse.
It
His
is.
wheelhouse.
Yeah,
Like it's
Jeremy-
before the Nutty Professor was released. Like you can't go wrong with any of those movies.
How many clumps would you meet?
I would personally meet none. Nice family, but I don't want to meet any of them. I was actually looking at a list of Eddie Murphy movies, and I think the golden period ends with me with The Distinguished Gentleman. I love that movie so much. I think that was right before he started to do Nutty Professor, Dr. Dolittle, all these other movies. Norbit, all these other smaller movies. There's a certain type of comedy that Eddie Murphy bring in the 80s and early 90s that I think was killed off.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
this movie here doesn't really encapsulate it. It's experimental. Tries to do a little action Eddie Murphy. I don't know if you guys noticed that. He's getting his little Jean-Claude Van Damme punches and kicks on.
He punches the guy in the dick that one time.
I like you noticed that.
Yeah,
That's good. It's just a classic movie for me. And I remember seeing this movie on HBO back in the day. If you remember HBO movies just being shown, it was part of the first collection of movies that I've seen on HBO. So it just kind of resonates with me a little more because it's tied into my classic cable movie watching. Love this movie. Go and see it. Eddie Murphy. Has some other people too, but it's all Eddie Murphy, really.
Do you think this movie is better than The Adventures of Pluto Nash?
Just barely. No.
That movie got a bum rap.
I can't say it.
No, it's Pluto Nash.
It deserved everything it got. Jeremy, what did you think of this movie, The Golden Child?
Yeah, so again, like with a lot of these movies that I saw back in my youth, when I watched them again with more of a like higher intellect, I analyzed them much more, and a lot of the movies that I love aren't really that good. This being one of them, but I don't care. Like I love this movie. I will watch it again. I love seeing it in the theater. It's my parents. So one of the things that my grandparents lived right next door to us when I was growing up, and like every Friday or Saturday night, if we weren't doing anything, they would come by and we would watch like one or two movies that we would rent at like Blockbuster or another video rental place. And this was one of the movies that we watched after it came out on VHS. My grandparents weren't that big of like sci-fi paranormal type movies, but they did enjoy this because they loved Eddie Murphy. And I'll always love The Golden Child. It's amazing, and I think you should watch it.
Fantastic stuff.
Mike, what do you think about the Golden Child?
I love this movie. I know this was the first Eddie Murphy movie I ever saw.
Right
'Cause,
on.
like I'm like a year or two younger than most of the people in this room. So I would have been like 6 when this movie came out. So this was like the first Eddie Murphy movie that my parents let me watch because it was rated PG-13. So it always holds a special place in my heart. I mean, it's no Bowfinger.
I would totally do Bowfinger.
Both
for this.
actually, I actually do really like Bowfinger.
Chubby Rain.
I would also do, well, maybe I wouldn't, but I do like A Vampire in Brooklyn. Even though it's not very good. But yeah, no, this movie's fun. Like, it's maybe the only like kind of sci-fi Eddie Murphy movie.
Besides Pluto Nash.
That doesn't count. Or the first sci-fi Eddie Murphy movie. I don't know. Like, it's just fun. Like, it's right up my alley. I got nothing to complain about.
Yeah, this movie's a ton of fun. I was the one to suggest this movie. Any movie that has comedy and Chinese mysticism, I'm going to gravitate towards.
There you go.
I mean, this movie has so many overlapping factors to Big Trouble in Little China. Again, we'll clearly do this movie. I love Big Trouble in Little China. But again, I look back at a lot of these movies and I really think, can you inject a little bit of comedy? And if you could do that, I feel you could just get away with almost murder.
Yeah.
I mean, because now I could go back to this movie and I'm like, if this movie took itself seriously, the big problem is it would have dated itself. And it would have been more shocking at the time, but now we would have been going back and been like, cool. Yeah. A movie about kidnapped children and it's R and it's serious. Like, I don't want to keep watching this movie. But the movie that we're now watching, there's some jokes, it's funny, and there's action, and there's, magic. This is awesome. I'll watch this movie once a year, like, gladly.
Yeah. Like, I feel this movie would have been like the first Power if like Lou Diamond,
Yes.
like if it were serious, it would have been like that.
Yeah, okay, so let's take out Lou Diamond Phillips and all of a sudden you have...
put Eddie Murphy in there.
Wow.
Yeah, that would have been way more fun. Like, are you kidding me? Like, making, like, wisecracks as fireballs are coming at you and bone demons or bone demoning.
Bone explosionings.
Bone explosions.
The fact that he hated
that
this
bone
movie,
juice.
I think, just makes it better. Because it's clear in a lot of scenes, he's just kind of like going off script and saying stuff. And it really works for me.
It's kind of funny. We did a movie where another Eddie was just going off script and just running his mouth. It didn't work well as it did here. And that's Eddie Griffin with Irish Jam.
Yeah.
The exact same type of off-script comedy that worked well here, but not there. And it's just a difference between Griffin and Murphy.
Yeah. Different leagues there.
And it's a different type of movie, I understand. But just when you go off the cuff and you try and do punny comedy like that, it shows where the real professionalism is.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Listeners, if you want to watch a 80s action adventure comedy, you have just found it. Like, totally watch this movie. This movie's super notable for me. Clearly, everyone likes this movie in this room. Any final thoughts on The Golden Child?
No.
Not really, except that I just thought of one thing. Eddie Murphy with me and his comedy. I just wanted to mention one thing. I think my first experience with Eddie Murphy was a comedy tape. There was no CDs back then. This is the early 80s. I heard Delirious.
Oh, yeah.
I would put Delirious over Raw anytime. And I know a lot of people talk a lot about Eddie Murphy's Raw as being a top tier comedy. I think Delirious is 10 times more funny than Raw. And I stand by that. In case anybody's going off the Eddie Murphy comedy albums,
They should.
Delirious is 10 times funnier than Raw.
I'll co-sign that. Yeah.
Thank you. I just need some confirmation and backup on
I like
that.
co-signing. Well, for all of you high school graduates out there and for all of you college kids taking a break, you know what? Next week's for you. Can't Hardly Wait from 1998. A story about a high school graduation or overall just a semester ending and a huge party. So college, high school. Let's celebrate. Yeah, going back to 1998, and last time we saw our lead Ethan Embry was in A Far Off Place, and you're going to see a much different actor in this movie. Tons of cameos. Has everyone seen this movie?
Yeah.
I don't think
I have.
Okay.
So this might be a first time for me.
I like it.
I can't hardly wait.
He can't hardly wait. Oh my god.
Ooh.
That's
Oh
why
boy!
it's called
Wow.
that.
Well, that thing was titled as such. As always, Rabbit Troop sucks,
Rabbit Troop sucks.
and you can't
Troop
hardly
sucks.
Can't hardly wait.
wait. Brother Numsy, flog me.